Thank y'all for joining us for True Tall Tales and Whiskey. We got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Zach Romo over here to the left of me right here.
What's going on, guys? Good to see you.
We're going to ask him a few questions tonight. He done played a couple of performances. We're going to get them cut in later on the episode. By the way, Zach, happy belated birthday.
Hey, thank you, man. It means the world.
Absolutely. How was your show at Sweetwater on Friday?
Man, I think it was awesome. I think it went well. I don't know. I woke up licking my wounds all Saturday, so I know it went all right, at least.
Hey, if you don't remember the second half of your performance, was it really a good performance?
Probably not. Probably not, to be honest with you.
So you had a lot of people step on stage with you as well. Let's give
Yeah,
them
man.
a shout out.
Braden Stewart got on stage with me. Gracie York was in the house. She got on stage with me, and Jerry actually helped me get my sound together. He opened the show up.
Shout out to all of them.
Yeah, they killed it.
It was an awesome show. I was
there a little later up on stage too.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't remember none of
Turn
that.
over.
Matt Ensign was on stage with me. Okay, I apologize. I was me and Yeager broke up in 2008, and I introduced myself again that night, and I found myself in a world of hurt. So Matt Ensign was also on that stage.
Me and Jared were talking about that on Sunday, man. All that damn Jaeger.
God bless, dude. That's a devil.
Well, hell, for my first show with True Tall Tales and Whiskey, I had to kill a bottle of Jaeger before I got here. Something about what's in that bottle does something to you.
Yeah, it's called sin. yeah, it hurts, man.
Time out. We gotta start over. All right.
No, that was
No,
perfect.
keep on going, man. We ain't starting nothing over. Everything here is gonna be real. Let's do it. Come on, keep on going.
All right, let's bring it back to December for a minute. I know you took a little break from music for a little while.
I did.
You had that Tunes for Tots show.
Yeah,
And
man.
fucking crowd was live, living. Everything was good. You had a couple new people in the band with you, and
Man, it was dope, man. So I took a break for about, I think we played 3 or 4 full band shows all of, was it 2022?
yeah.
And I was just in a dark spot, and I thought it was over. I really did. But Tunes for Tots is very special on my heart. I'll always do that, regardless if I play music or not for a career. I'm always going to come back to Tunes for Tots. And what was special about that night was I brought 2 new guys on, Tony Bond and Justin Bond, and they are just monsters.
Shout out, man.
Yeah,
Shout out to
absolutely.
Justin.
Dude, we practiced for one night for about an hour, and they had it locked in, and it was a last minute thing. I kind of procrastinated, brought them on. They had no problem at all. And when we got on stage, it was I don't know if the word's humbling or what it was. It was ecstasy for me. It was seeing everything I thought we'd lost, because I knew that I gave it up, and it was only my choice. It wasn't the band's choice or nothing like that. It was my choice to stop. And when I saw the fan base had never left us, it was something super special to me. And a couple weeks after that, we played the Silver Saloon, and we had that show already booked. And so I just thought these last 2 hoorahs or whatever, and then Silver Saloon went off, and I'm like, okay, here's the deal. Not only do I owe it to the fan base, but I owe it to the 3 guys that stand behind me, the team that guys derail drives for me. I owe it to him. I owe it to the merch guys. I owe it to everybody just to make this fucking work.
Absolutely.
And let's give it one more run, man. And so that's when we started hitting it again. We're back at it.
And I personally watched you. I'm super close friends with you, and I'll just say this off the rip. Like, I watched one of my best friends fall back in love with music.
It's exactly what happened.
From the Tunes for Tots show, like, I don't want to leave anybody out, and I'm sorry if I do, but I mean, we had the Cody Cresswells. Of course, Matt Ensign was out there with them. We had Michael Summers.
Yep.
We had so many other amazing artists. And then I was also there to kind of follow up with you at the show where Michael Summers and 30 Miles East opened up with you. One of my favorite 30 Miles East performances.
Buddy, I'll tell you this right now, and I don't mean to cut you off.
time.
I have played with Michael years. That was, and I've had a lot of opening bands, and I've been the opening band. That was the hardest act to follow my whole life. Michael Summers, 30 Miles East, fucking took that crowd to a new level. I don't think anybody would have came to the front of my stage, but they were there when I walked out because Michael brought them to the front of the stage. That show was probably my favorite show not of Michael Summers, but I watched it from backstage. I didn't even see it. I wasn't sitting in the front. There was an energy that was brought there that night that was fucking incredible, dude.
And that's what was
Shit.
so cool about it, because not only you, but I feel like Michael kind of fell in love with music again that night. Not saying he was out of it, but man, both of y'all from that performance, y'all were both really re-energized and like.
I think that's a astute observation, and I know Michael's not on the camera right now, and I'm looking at him. That wasn't how we feel back in love with music. Me and him both. We've had these conversations. We've had these dark conversations, and in a living room, in a car, driving to a show. We've had these conversations like, is this over? Like, just this isn't worth it. That night, I think we both looked each other in the eyes, especially when we came off stage, and it was absolutely special.
And I don't think that.
And not that it's not hard now. Like it's still hard now. But that moment when it gets hard now, I think about that. Oh, it can be recharged.
For sure.
It can come back, you know.
And speaking to like outside of just the Hunt County crowd, that was like big, because like I don't think they realize how close you and Michael Summers actually are. Like, you even not even being there, you picked the come out, like the introduction song to his next show at Silver Saloon, which was absolutely awesome.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Just by text message, you picked.
Dude,
Was it
and they
Coulter
hit
Wall?
hard. It was a Coulter Wall, sleeping on the back laptop. That bass was, yeah.
Definitely, and
That
that
was a good
speaks a
one.
lot to the scene. How much everybody just really supports each other.
Man, I'm in love with this scene. I'm in love with everybody on this planet, on this Texas, or I would say Texas even, just this Hunt County scene. And I hate to like be biased with the Hunt County scene, but I'm not a huge artist. I have got to do some cool shit, but I'm very close to this Hunt County family and this Hunt County band groups, the amateurs and all this coming up. People don't understand the talent, and maybe it's in every county, but I see it personally. There is so much talent, and I've said this on the record a million times, in this area where I see one guy at open mic, and I'm like, hey man, that was dope. You need to get a band together. And they get a band together, and then they start surpassing us. These guys are on tours with Cody Johnson and like Grace York came to open Michael Summers at Thirsty Bros. It was one of the smallest, like physical, smallest venues ever. Grace York, I mean, I remember seeing her. Like, Michael Summers open mic. I'm like, they dope, and she was dope, and so she took it and ran and killed her. Tanner Ustry. Tanner, he came to open mic at Sweetwater, then played one acoustic show with him, and that's the last I could ever play on his stage again. It's nuts. This scene is so, it seems small, but word of mouth here, I believe we have the best music scene in Texas, and I believe that because I'm not very well traveled, I guess, but I really do. There's nobody that's bad. Not a single person that can't put a band together and make it.
100%.
I think it's incredible.
Man, that'd be really badass if y'all were all playing some sort of like festival or fair coming up soon.
Yeah,
Just like a massive Hunt County person, like just massive Hunt County musician festival.
Dude.
Dude.
I'll surprise guest Colton O'Neill's coming back from the dead. He's gonna be out there playing with me, man. I can't wait to pick him up from the airport. I miss that man, dude.
And where is that happening at?
That's Hunt County Fair on the April 22nd. Me, Michael Summers, and Colton O'Neill opening for Casey Donahue.
Oh, that's huge.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's going to be a night.
That's gonna be dope, man. That'll be dope.
So we know you got some new music coming out. I know a lot of people don't really know that or know about. Luckily, I've been lucky enough to be at a lot of your live shows and hear that coming into play. I think a lot of people don't realize how much you've actually put effort into writing and moving forward. What's the inspiration for some of the new music that you have on deck for us?
Man, that's the funny thing about music, man. Kind of like the story I just told, where I gave everything up. The inspiration for the new record is, I mean, it's dark.
Yeah, I've listened to a lot of your
It
music.
is dark, man, and it's it's not foreign to me. I've written a lot of dark stuff, but it's not everything I've written before is usually heartbreak if it's dark. This time it's heartbreak in my own heart, like just finding myself again. And like one of the new singles coming out is called Smoke and Mirrors, where everybody thinks in this town, which we all live in a small town, they think I'm something. They think I'm something bigger than I am. I live in a double wide trailer. I've got a couple horses and a truck that sometimes runs. And so I wrote a song called Smoke and Mirrors where it's pretty, but it ain't. And that when I wrote that song, I wrote it kind of like a middle finger to not only myself, but just to my depression I was in and all the stuff. And that inspired a record to where the last song that I wrote for the record is super uplifting. That first song wasn't. I was dead set on writing this whole record of this will be the last one I ever produce, last one I ever record, and it's going to be, this is the way I'm going out. And they're going to remember, if they remember anything about Name, it's going to be like, damn, that dude was struggling. But it didn't turn out that way. When I got to the back of the record, it turns out to be very inspirational. Here I am back in music.
Redemption.
Yeah, redemption, absolutely.
Absolutely.
100%. It was, and not my own doing. And I couldn't have done it without not just my musical brothers around me. It was I'm so blessed to have a good family and friend base that, I mean, I was at the bottom of the bottom. I've seen rock bottom before, and I took a shovel and went way further. And super lonely, but I wasn't. In my mind, I wasn't. So you're gonna be able to hear it on the record from the first song to the last, where the transition changed. And I think they're gonna like every song on the record, but you're definitely gonna. I want it to be emotional. I want it to be not emotional like Care for Me, like look at where I was and where I'm going, but emotional where music's a drug and it's a dopamine kick or it's an actual kick in the balls. And I want it to be where the first track can just be like, I feel you, so I'm gonna curl up my depression, and the last track be like something that can bust you out of it. Because I didn't write it. It came from my mind. It came from my hand, pen to paper. But the friend base that, I mean, literally took me off my deathbed, wrote that record for me.
And I think watching you from super close, like I'm lucky enough to call you my good friend, and man, I've seen you at times that are darker and under the bed. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that attests to what we were already saying about the Hunt County music scene. Like, it's a family.
100%.
It's definitely a family. From anybody, from the Mattinslins, Martin Antonio, Michael Summers, to the Corey O'Grady's and people like me that don't play music. Like,
and with this platform, I'd like to say from just to the fan base that doesn't play music, these guys you see that are doing awesome things, opening for amazing bands, doing amazing things. Successful or not, they're struggles, man. It's a tough industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's iron on iron, but it's not always sharpening each other. It's beating together. I mean, just rocks on rocks. It can be very, very tough for people that come from a life like we did from this small town area and not know business, not know much about anything but farming and other stuff. When you get into these people are rising. Everybody in this industry is rising in this county. Everybody's rising. And when you get to the point of business, and you get to the point of LLCs, you get to the point of booking agents, and you get to the point of, it's tough, man. It's the 90 minutes on stage, ecstasy, great. It's. I wish I could share that feeling with the rest of the world. Nobody that's not playing music will ever feel what we feel on that stage. But getting to the show, getting to the next show, investors getting paid, booking agents getting paid, managers getting paid, all this stuff. It can really, really fuck a person up.
Absolutely.
100%. And I want the fan base to know that part of it. It's not always, social media is great, man. You can post all the content you want, but you got to support everyone you see. When they might have one bad show where they sound bad, and then you blast them on fucking TikTok or whatever. That's so shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Or you don't buy a T-shirt. Or you know what? Don't buy go after the show, shake their hand and say, "Hey, your words touched me." Don't tell them they sounded awesome. I'm telling you, that's the biggest compliment. With your words, you're getting me through something right now.
Right.
It's the most massive compliment you can get. I mean, it really is. Absolutely. Music's a drug, and it's a very healthy one.
Mm-hmm.
And for the people that play it, sometimes it gets numb because you're playing the same shit. You don't realize you're prescribing that drug to people. Like, it gets really numb, and you lose that passion, that feeling for it. And so when somebody comes and says like that got me through this or this and that, or your words of this or that, even to the drummer, when you hit that floor tom and that one song, like those things boost. It brings musicians back to life. 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say one thing. There's a huge difference between people that write songs that'll sell and people that write songs that are coming directly from their heart. And a lot of them songs that come directly from your heart, they will sell because people feel that shit.
100%.
And I will cheers to this, brother.
Cheers, my friend.
Whole bunch of them songs you've written, I know they come straight from the heart. You can feel that shit when it's coming right through that record.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's world. I mean,
I've drank a few shiners and put a few pictures down.
now I'll tell you something funny. just to get out of this emotional mode. Like when I wrote Breakthrough was a very emotional song for me. But when I wrote that song, man, it's funny. I just played a show, and we played at Silver Saloon. I came home, and I was watching the Office, and it was the last episode of The Office. So I'm finishing the series. And I don't know if y'all have ever seen it, but if you're a huge fan of The Office, it's a tearjerker, right? And I got into my feels. I'm eating Taco Bell in my boxers on the couch watching The Office.
You deserve better, by the way.
And I went straight to my truck and got my guitar out of the back seat, and I was like, she's gonna feel everything. I'm writing a song, and I wrote Breakthrough, and that was a single off the last record.
Hell yeah!
But I mean, looking at that, if I was outside my body, look at that moment, I would have been like, "You idiot!" You know, that was so stupid. I probably had shredded cheese on my thighs where I was spilling out of my taco. You know, I don't. But I wrote that song that night, and
Shit right there, man.
and yeah, and that just speaks like music can talk to you in so many different ways. I wrote that song. I mean, to be honest, here on the podcast, it was about my ex-wife. I hadn't spoken to my ex-wife or even thought about her, and we got divorced in 2009. This was 2016. I wrote this song. I had no emotion towards it. It was like I was really missing, but I was in that moment. She's going to hear from me, and I wrote Breakthrough, and there's nothing funny about it. It's an emotional song, but I wrote that in emotions. I watched in The Office. Music just hits you at different times. It can speak to you, and when I listen to it now, it hits me with a different relationship. Even the song I wrote, it hits me harder with a different relationship. So every moment you listen to music, it could change from the next day to this day to that day. If that can do that inside of you, imagine what if you're playing a crowd of thousands. 1,000 people might interpret that one song as a million different things.
Absolutely.
Well,
And that's what's so beautiful.
And
if you were eating Taco Bell, like, it might have been a different kind of breakthrough.
That's true. That's true.
And if it makes you feel any better about the way you wrote that song, I think I probably sang Breakthrough to my steering wheel at least 100 times.
Man, that means the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Like full volume, like I mean.
Thank you. She's going to hear us, buddy.
All right, so let's get back on topic.
Hey,
real quick
we
for a
give me
minute.
a beer, Alex?
Now that we're out of this whole deep conversation, is there any artists you're listening to right now who you're excited about in the upcoming scene? Anything like that? Like,
Man, I'm excited about a bunch.
What's going on?
I'm excited about a bunch of things happening. I'll be honest. I listen to a lot of sports radio and a lot of podcasts, so I couldn't tell you what a lot of the new guys coming on the scene. It's gonna sound I'm really excited about all my friends coming on the scene. This sounds like I'm promoting them on this station, and I
Go
will,
ahead.
but I really am. Like, Cody Cresswell inspires me, man. I remember, so he said he came to my open mic. He didn't even play music, and then I saw on I think it was your Snapchat.
Yep.
He was playing in the garage.
Yeah, I went to high school with Cody. I had
Yeah,
no
yeah,
idea
it
he
was-
had
it was
any
your
kind of music
Snapchat.
ambitions.
He never at all. And so he came. He was always so kind to me. I knew his mom made me, and he was always the nicest. And I saw on Snapchat, it was your Snapchat. He was playing in a garage playing guitar. I'm like, dude, he's probably been to 10 open mics and never asked to get on. I just didn't even know he played music.
Exactly.
I said, man, I had no idea he played. He's like, oh, no, I didn't. And I just got a guitar. I started playing. That dude right now is...
He's doing the damn
He
thing.
plays a show every night.
Oh, absolutely.
That was probably 2 years ago when that happened. Probably right, Cody, when he started? Probably 2 years ago.
Yeah. And
2.5.
Matt?
Like 3.
Yeah, maybe 3. Yeah, it wasn't long ago, but I think he knew like some chords, or whatever. But when he sat down and put his pedal to the metal. The dude can play a show anywhere he wants, anytime he wants.
Oh, absolutely.
That. So to ask what artists inspire me, it's none of these. I mean, I'm not listening to anybody religiously. What inspires me is that grind, because I feel like I used to have that and I want it back. It's tough to get back. But when I see that, I'm like, that dude's, he wants to have his music heard. He wants a paycheck. He wants this stuff. What the hell am I doing here? Just on TikTok in my truck smoking cigarette. That really does inspire me. Like, dude, I got to get back on my DMs. I got to get back on my venues. I got to get back on this. And that kind of stuff inspires me. He's not the only one. Avery Flores is this kid right now. I would say kid. I mean, he's a full grown man, but he comes to my open mics, and this kid, he had one song he had written that he had played on mic before, and he sang it. He'd sang 3 songs before, and I thought his voice was awesome. But he sang this song, and there was a passion about it, and the way the song hit me, I guess. He's probably my favorite vocally of anybody right now, and he has no idea. Like, not he has no idea that he's my favorite. He has no idea how good he is.
Oh, 100%.
He is so humble. He is just the coolest cat on the planet. That's one guy that inspires the shit out of me, man.
Yeah, and he just chills. You book him a show, and he's like, "Oh hell yeah, I'm there."
He's super. I
So
think
grateful, man.
Absolutely,
100%. I think that's what inspires me the most, man. And I keep not trying to keep coming back to Michael. Michael's been we've had the same negative parts about our journey. We've been very successful in this. I mean, Michael's a huge band. We're a decent sized band. But Michael his inspiration is uplifting words. When I know he doesn't feel like giving them, yeah, I know he's in the same spot that I am, and I hope I'm the same for you, buddy. But that's somebody that inspires me as well. But I don't. There's no artist that I'm like, I have their record on repeat. Giovanni the Hired Guns, maybe I listen to them every now and again. But the ones that inspire me are these amateur guys coming up with the grind and the passion they have in their eyes. I want that back.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool to hear that Cody's one of those guys, man, because you know that's my boy.
Dude, I love Cody, man. Yeah, dude, Cody is
He's got the fire, dude. You know what I mean?
he put together a solid band. And Matt Anderson right here, he's with us right here in this room. All
right, that guitar player kind of,
he just
pulls the weight sometimes.
It just man, it's sound because I don't feel like outside of like y'all met each other before. You're a bluesy rocking guy. Cody's got that Texas thing. It reminds me a lot of me and Colton. Colton's super bluesy jazz.
Man.
My drummer's a metal guy. My bass player, met him in a worship band. Like, we all had different genres, and it reminds me a lot of Colton with you and Cody.
Hey, so to dip off in like the kind of Facebook memories kind of atmosphere, the other day we replayed our original season of True Tall Tales and Whiskey, where we Cody was one of our first guests,
Oh yeah.
and Matt about fell on the floor laughing at both of them. And it wasn't like disrespect. He just it was like that
babies, man.
What do you mean?
That awakening moment.
What was he laughing at?
He realized like how far they have came.
Oh, dude, it's insane.
Listening to that interview does not
work.
And you know what it is. You know how you get that far that fast, and I don't know what it is. I wish I could get it back. That motherfucker grinds so hard. I guarantee you he has a pipeline full where I guarantee you venues are calling him, small or big. I guarantee that dude wakes up and he's messaging every venue he can. Or he has somebody doing that.
Well, that's
and I don't have that. I just don't have that. Not that I don't want it. I want that drive. I just don't have that motivation to do it, and that's very impressive to me.
Cody's songwriting is phenomenal because it's not like anybody else.
Oh, he's great.
Like, he has a great, like, almost folk kind of, like, style, like, folk outlaw, like, I don't know what to label it.
He's folking awesome, dude.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome.
Awesome. Cody Cresswell, we love you, brother. We love you.
So, man,
Most of us, anyway.
You came in here tonight and you played Dogs of War for us.
Yes, sir.
All right, so transitioning from that into this interview, all right, so it is 20 years now since the invasion of Iraq.
Yes, sir.
And it is, that was our generation's defining, like a war moment,
Yeah.
if you want to, for lack of better words. So, being a Marine, first off, thank you for your service. And
Thank you for yours, buddy.
Especially being
Mr.
a part
Martin
of the
Antonio is
finest
also
fighting
Marine.
force
Yeah.
in the
Thank,
entire world.
thank you so much, buddy. Hey, cheers to me real quick. Mr. Martin Antonio is also Marine there.
But man, so having the being a musician and being a Marine in common, do you have anything to say? First off, you got anybody to shout out? You got any of your boys you want to shout out?
Man,
Who was your friend at Sweetwater the other night?
Man, so that's Michael Carr, man. He was we had a 13-man team, and he was our first Humvee driver. He was the first vehicle, which is the fucking. This is 06. This is IED fucking like popping off. You know, that is the toughest job on the planet, man. Being that first gun and that first driver, and he was shit. But he surprised me for my birthday last Friday. He showed up at my show, and that was cool shit. I hadn't seen him in 3 years. Man, all those guys just absolute warriors. My gun, they were dope, man. I had my driver, man, Grant. I was a turret gunner, and my A driver, Sergeant Scott. Man, I miss those guys. That I want to shout out all of them. There's so many to mention. I mean, Afghanistan, my 319 team. They're always there with me everywhere I go. That's not music. That's just a daily basis. It's a anybody listening that's military, you can relate. But whether you've been deployed or not, it's people you would never ever hang out with out in your county or wherever you grew up. You meet the best friends that are the most strangest characters that you would never interact with or want to interact with or even like or none of stuff. You become a family, man. And so I have a 175,000 population family with the Marine Corps, man, and I always will. And when I wrote Dogs of War, I had just gotten out, and it was 2010. And dude, I was on the struggle bus. No idea what I was bartending, doing roofs. I was doing sheet metal roofs in June in Texas. Fucking slept.
Boy.
I missed war. I missed war so much, dude. And in the midst of 2 months of being out, we had lost some buddies of ours to suicide, and none of it gave me peace. But I'll say it this way: like, I know the peace in their heart was they just wanted to be back in the sand. That's all they wanted. Happy as shit. And you could tell when you meet these guys, they had depressed lives, they had bad lives, but we were all equals and the same in the suck. Like, we were just, the currency was cigarettes, you know, like you didn't care for yourself, you cared for the guy behind you. That's all it was. And so when they came home, they couldn't deal with it. And whenever I started writing that song, I was writing it from a selfish standpoint where my life in my mind was bad. It wasn't. And I was losing these guys that really had a fucking tough life. Their life really was bad. Their best life was in the sand. And maybe it was mine too. When I started writing that song, it was just, the only place I wanted to be. It's the only place I wanted to be.
I feel you, man.
And I didn't have a bad life. But I felt for them. I felt there was no emotion there. You knew, you didn't know, but you thought at any moment your life could be over, so you just lived happy. And so the last words in that song were, only place I want to be. And I know that's how they felt when they passed away. I'm not trying to bring this podcast down, man.
Nah, man.
But no, I mean, it just that's where that song came from. I started writing it, and I couldn't sleep.
Your words speak
Yeah.
to me, Zach. They really do, and those
Thank you.
lyrics, they really,
Thank you, man.
like, he brought me to tears more than a dozen times that I think about it. And I do, man. I don't know how you translate. I mean, that's a beautiful moment that you just shared with us. Music is something that you're not. You know, we've seen the other side of the wall. We know what's out there. You've seen war, and then to be able to come home and express yourself musically is something that I think not a lot of people can share. And so, is there something maybe that you could share with us about maybe something you could tell or connect with other musicians that are military members that are trying to get that out
Absolutely.
into words?
Yeah. No,
Is there
Rick,
something you could
dude, phenomenal
tell
question.
us?
Phenomenal question, and I'm gonna answer on the fly. But I'll tell you what I love the most about it, what I hated, what was the toughest for me as a veteran. What I loved the most about it was the camaraderie. Me and my boys are in the same van for days on end. Same as
Got that.
that was something that I'd missed tremendously. That was well, I mean trust me, we butted heads. We butted heads, but to have that, we're all, I mean, obviously different spectrums. We're playing this show for a reason, exposure or money or whatever it might be. So we had that same mission. That was what I loved about it. I'll tell you what was toughest for me as a veteran.
Full soon.
It was still the loneliness. It's a super different side of the spectrum of what I just talked about. How as when you're in the military, you become friends with all these people, but you all live in different areas of the country, right? And so, whenever you get out or go to a different, platoon or whatever, you never see these guys again. And all I ever wanted, and it's happened a couple times where my guys have showed up to surprise me, but I wanted to share that moment with them so bad. And as a veteran, yeah, I got the camaraderie back, but I still didn't have the camaraderie with those guys. My family,
Yeah.
I wanted them to see my success. I wanted them to be a part of my success. And that was probably the toughest fucking thing for me, man. That was really tough. Because we see each other on Facebook and stuff, but I became an adult with them. From 17 years old, I was in Iraq at 18. I joined at 17, I was in Iraq at 18. My whole adult life, all I knew were these guys. And then left. And they see pictures and stuff, but they don't get to see how proud I am of it, I guess. That's for a veteran musician, that's, if you're listening and struggling, that was probably my toughest thing. I just wanted, I could have 10,000 people in front of me. I wanted 20 of them right there.
Damn, dude, that's deep.
Fucking cheers to that.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah.
Cheers. And for people like me that, like I can listen to you all day long, but I will never be able to understand that pain.
And I wouldn't call it pain. It sucks, but they're watching far, but it just can't be possible. So, but go ahead.
On behalf of civilians, as a lot of people in the military would label us,
it's just,
I don't feel like that's like derogatory at all. Like, man, thank you. Thank you,
Man, I appreciate
and
it.
people
No,
like
yeah.
Martin, and thank you for sharing this on our podcast.
Yeah,
oh,
man, I
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Because it's something that a lot of us will never be able to understand.
And
The way you just told that, I don't know, you made me feel it. That's for damn sure.
yeah, and it's. I'm not trying to get emotional. I'm not trying to. It's. I'm sure it's the same for people that go to college and then you guys move away. I'm sure it's the same for everybody. I'm not trying to make it like we're veterans, so we're better than everybody.
It's relatable.
You become family with these men. I mean, you are literally. That's the person that's taking care of you, and so it was just a question that Martin asked, like, what would you give advice to a veteran that's playing music now? And that would be
Absolutely.
just understand that it can't be possible. And every now and then you might be able to see him. But I played a show in Fort Worth. It was probably our third year in, and this is probably, we were peaking, our fourth year in. We were peaking up pretty good, and we played a huge show, and there was 10 guys from, I was in Iraq with an 06. This was 2019, that showed up and surprised me. Prior to that show, I had played with guys that were my idols in the music scene. Nobody at that show that show didn't give us any exposure. It didn't put us on a platform. But that show was. I probably played the hardest I ever fucking played at that show.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was so fucking special. They all got together without me knowing, because we promoted that show forever. It was Whiskey Roll Saloon, which is now the Co-Wetzel Right Room. But I had promoted it forever. I thought that was huge. It was the first time in the Stockyards. And so all of them saw that, I guess, and they got on their Facebook and they said, hey, let's. And I promoted 3 months in advance, so they all had time to get flights and stuff like that. And they all came into Fort Worth and they surprised me there. And I played that fucking guitar so fucking hard, dude. I probably sounded like shit because they got me drunk as shit before I got on stage. But that was my proudest, like, and we've played for thousands of people. You can, and that's cool as shit. But those fucking guys in that room, there was probably 100 people in that room, but they were there. That was,
hell yeah,
dude. That just every crack and scratch on that guitar is probably from that night. That was the coolest time I ever had. Because I remember being overseas, we were talking about, like, this is what I want to do, man. This is my dream. I'm gonna do it. And they were seeing me live it out.
hell yeah.
You know what I mean? That was cool as shit, dude.
And just to cover all of our grounds. Earlier you mentioned the new additions, Justin and Tony Bond, which have been amazing. But you also have someone with a military background in your band as well.
Yeah, Justin Harris, man, he's a Marine as well.
Yes,
and
sir.
Justin, man.
dude, Justin's a killer, man. Justin's a phenomenon. We were living in. I'll make this a quick story, but so my best friend growing up was a kid named Jeremy Harris. He had a big brother that ran away from home and ran to Florida to find his dad. I never met him. Fast forward, that was 8th grade. Fast forward, graduation, I joined the Marine Corps. I go to Iraq, come back, I get a new duty station, I'm going to California. Jeremy calls me, he's like, hey man, dude, my big brother, I told you about it? Yeah. He's like, he had joined the Marine Corps, he's stationed out there too. You should give him a holler and meet up with him. And me and Jeremy had joined the Marine Corps together, so Jeremy was on the East Coast, we were on the West Coast. I said, yeah, I'm gonna give him a call. Never met this guy in my life. And so I call him. I'm like, hey man, Jeremy gave you your number. I'm Zach. I'm Jeremy's best friend. Grew up with him forever. I live here in Vista. Just got stationed out here in Pendleton. I just want to meet up with you, have a beer. He's like, oh, where you live at? I'm like, man, here, so. Like,
first date, kind of nervous?
No, dude, so I'm like, I live here. He's like, dude, I live right here. I was like, no, I live here in Vista. He's like, no, I live here in Vista. We were 2 houses away. I never met this man in my life. I've been best friends with his brother forever. Never met the man in my life. Like, literally on the phone, walk outdoors and, like, look at each other. And since then, we're just best friends. And after that, we kicked it off, whatever. And then one day we got super hammered. And talking about playing music. I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to dream of doing this. I'm going to do open mics. And open mics was like that was my platform. Like, I was like, if I'll make it, if I get on the list at open mic, And he's like, dude, I'll do it with you. And he's never touched an instrument in his life, but he was so good at Rock Band. So, this is no bullshit, dude. He was so fucking no. He had the electronic drum set, like not the 4 colors. He had the setup, cymbals, color, like he had the setup, and he was so good at it. I said, dude, we could do this. And so our neighbor had a garage sale, and they were selling a drum kit. We put that drum kit in my garage. We bought it, but in my garage, we put a big screen TV, muted it, and had him play the drum set like he was playing Rock Band. That's how Justin Harris learned drums.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
And he's my drummer today.
Epic, dude.
And he's a killer. And he's phenomenal, man. He's a great drummer. But yeah, that's how he learned drums. That he's a freaking nature, man. But mine and his whole story goes and start, man. It's just crazy how that whole thing came together. But same with like Colton O'Neill. When I met Colton, like I had a different guitar player, was Jake Ramey, and he was a badass dude. He was great, but he went to Little Fields, had a sports family, and we weren't making much money. But the first stage I ever played in Texas, I was opening for Colton O'Neill band. And I thought that was like open for George Strait, dude. That was
Hell yeah.
that was
Hey,
my hero.
Colton O'Neill's album to me is one of the most underrated
The
albums
oh,
of
dude,
all
that
time.
that record is so killer.
Double Shot,
people
that's
about
my
it.
song.
Yeah,
Dude.
whole album's on my playlist.
Dude,
just
Double
just
Shot
the
it-
rest of them.
Double Shot is a dope song, but it is my least favorite on that record. That whole record is fire. That whole record.
Oh,
is dope.
absolutely.
So that was my hero, man. And so, fast forward, Jake left. Colton was living in New Braunfels, and he was in town for a couple months. I said, "Man, I got 2 shows. Jake's leaving for Can you just?" And he knew all of our stuff, whether he knew it or not. He's that good of a musician. He could have probably just filled in, but he knew all of our stuff. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'll play these couple of shows," and he just never left. And I didn't want him to. That's where it came. That's how we got Colton O'Neill.
Shout out to Colton O'Neill.
That's how I met Colton, and that's how I met Justin. But with Matt never played an instrument in his life. He was singing harmonies in the worship group I was in Cattle Mills, Texas.
Yes, sir.
And whenever we played Sweetwater that first time, I was like, "Man, I can teach you 4 chords. I'll teach you 4 chords on this bass." He bought a bass. I taught him 4 chords.
You didn't,
Zach Romo Band was born.
you didn't
rest
teach him
is
them
history.
dance
Absolutely.
moves, though, did you?
No, I
Them dance moves.
did none of that. I wish I could move like that. No, but our band is just so weird, and it just happens because the energy that you give to each other. If you want to make it work, you make it work and grind. And we had lost that passion along the way, and that's what we're trying to get back to right now.
All right, Zach. Had a feeling having you on this side of the microphone when it came to the whole podcast thing was going to be something fucking magical. Had no idea it was going to be this good. So we just want to all thank you
Man, I
for being
appreciate
part
it.
of True Tall Tales and Whiskey on this side of the mic.
Man, I'm honored.
And we're going to close this out now. Everybody want a shot of whiskey after all this sentimental shit we was just going through?
Yeah.
Man, let me say one thing before we close this thing out.
Let's get it.
I want this more than a podcast, man. I just want to hang out with you fellas. I love you guys more than life.
Love you too.
Man,
Love
Love you
you,
too,
bro.
dog.
microphones recording or not, I love you guys at the end of the world.
You
Love you too,
brother.
bro.
Cheers, my friends, and thank you for
Cheers,
having me.
everybody.
Thank you for having me, man.
Cheers, baby.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
Here's the season 2.